I cut off a friend that was going through mental issues. My closest friend has had mental trauma and PTSD issues from when they were a child. They were also diagnosed with depression and some other shit. We had been friends for about 5 years at this point. The first 3 years we were closer than ever, and I really saw him in my future. But at the start of the 4th year I went through a mentally challenging 6 months where I stopped talking to majority of my friends because of personal shit. We still spoke though, but I started to notice changes in his behavior and he became less outgoing. Anytime he went through shit I always gave him as much support and advice that I could give him, and he told me multiple times that his mental health improved from the advice I gave him months later. But when I was going through my darkest points and I would try to speak to him about it, he would just say some dumb shit like "oh shit, that's crazy bro," and just said he wasn't good at giving advice and stuff. So I accepted it and didn't hold anything against, even though I pretty much had to go through that stuff alone. After I mostly recovered he started having his own issues as he was wrongfully accused of crimes and had cases against him that brought up old trauma for him, and I was there for him throughout it. Then this is when everything started to go to shit. He would constantly ask me for favors and money and stuff and I would always happily give him anything he wanted as he was my closest friend and I felt an obligation to help as much as I could. After about 6 months of this, I started to feel like he was taking advantage of my kindness as he would ask me for money for dumb shit and I stopped giving him money because I was spending more money on him than on myself and I didn't have that kind of money to give away. A month later he stole £90 from me and then even went on to ask me for more money a few days later. Me being the person I'll let it go as I understand times were tough for him. He then continued to have issues with rent and was struggling to maintain himself, and slowly I could see his mental health getting worse. I was still there for him emotionally but it still hurt me about all the money he had taken from me and all the things I had done for him. Meanwhile he would never do anything for me, but at the same time I never asked him for anything. At this point his mental health was spiraling and him and his girl broke up, and I could see with my own eyes that he was going crazy. After this I got into a situation where I seriously needed help with something, not financially, and I asked him for help, and he made up an excuse to not help me, and left me by myself with nowhere to turn. Eventually his mental health got really bad, and then he told me something he done that I don't feel like writing here, but it made me sick to my stomach and I stopped talking to him. I constantly let him take advantage of my generosity just because of how close we used to be, and I would constantly tell myself he would do the same for me if it was the other way round. Even though I stopped talking to him, I didn't even tell the rest of my friend group anything about why we stopped talking, because I didn't want them to stop talking to him too, cause I felt that would destroy his mental health even more, and I was genuinely scared he might kill himself or self-harm. I still feel bad about the fact that I'm not there for him with what he's going through, but I couldn't be friends with him anymore after all this. I'm typing this out to see other people's opinion. Am I in the wrong because he's in a bad place mentally, or did he bring on himself by driving me away? Now for the next story. Leaving a friend with a mess to deal with after he started drama. Okay, so let me set the scene. So a year ago, before this whole pandemic started, there was this kid in my class who was usually antagonized by a lot of people. I felt pretty bad for the kid, so I tried to become friends with him. We got closer and closer thanks to our mutual liking of art and animation. It was a bit of a unstable friendship, though. He would always try to compete with me in everyday things, even homework. It became to the point that it seemed like he actually wanted to be my rival. I didn't buy it though, so we were still friends. That was a very early warning sign. Once the pandemic hit, this was probably a screw up on my side. I kinda forgot about him for a month or so. He would play with another friend of mine for that time being. After that radius of time, I started playing with him. We played a lot and it was great. But then some more warning signs happened. So he started making very inappropriate jokes about my sister and my brother. To sum up, he would basically Alabama. There was also another screw up on my side here. I didn't know he would react like this, but I accidentally put an image of a Korean manga image that was meant for someone else, and he thought it was hentai. So he basically overreacted and said WTF, that was hentai, but after we forgot about it, Also, I would sometimes act like a furry for jokes, but I'll talk about that later. On December 11th, 2020, this was basically the day he pushed me out of my comfort zone. He put a very inappropriate video called Makukum. I watched it because I thought it was a Vine or something, but then I was traumatized. He also showed me a video called The C-Zone and said things like elegant edge. This made me very uncomfortable. We were also making very crappy gacha characters, and he directed a line to one I made saying, "That is fuck up." Another thing he did that day was said "Ikum" to my name twice today. This was basically when I was exposed to a lot of NSFW, and the fact that this was all in the same day was just sick. At New Year's, him and that friend of mine spammed something very, and I mean very, inappropriate. I'm not gonna go in the details of this for the sake of this post. They also pushed me into raiding a server with also very inappropriate links. I should've said no, but I still did anyway. Around January was when the kid was suicidal. Me and my online friends all tried our best to help him. I even tried to get him connected to the NSBL. Thankfully, he's still alive. He forgot about suicide, which was good, but then he focused on something that would start drama. Around February, this is when I would start acting like a furry. I admit that it was wrong. I also apologized for it 5 times, but he wouldn't accept it. I'll talk about that later. I would say things like "you woo pounces on you," basically along the lines of that furry rap, because I thought it was funny. This was a wrong on my part. We also had a war in Minecraft and I burned his house there, and let me just tell you the aftermath was very terrible. Instead of brushing it off and realizing that it was just a game, he overreacted and went off on me, saying that he hates me and that it took him so long to make that world. I also apologized for that, and I can also say he didn't accept it. He had already had a slight grudge against me since like 7 months ago. I don't know what started it, but he definitely had one. And I don't think having that war in Minecraft helped at all. So with the power of his own unnecessary grudge against me, he started realizing the furry things I said, and he said with his own words, "I realized I could call you out for this." So sir, let me get this straight. You can call me out for a little weird joke. Okay, that's fine. But I didn't call you out for your wrongs. So he basically bended my weird furry jokes and claimed that it was sexual harassment. This is what pissed me off. I have an online friend who was sexually harassed, and they can confirm what I did was not at all sexual harassment. I also did another screw up at my part. So when I'm tired I get very weird. I know I should think before I say something, and I've been told that before, but honestly I'm a weird person in general. Note, this was before he claimed I did sexual harassment. I said something along the lines of "stop being so insecure, so weak," and I know this was very weird, so I apologized after, but again, he didn't accept it. And seriously, I apologized for this. After that, he tried to make my life miserable by trying to manipulate my friends to hate me. It backfired on him though. He went to tell my IRL friends and basically include them in this unwanted drama that I burned his Minecraft house and that they shouldn't let me on their worlds. This didn't work though, and I was immediately let back on the Minecraft worlds. This pissed him off, and he claimed that they lied about me not going on. Okay, they lied about it for a certain reason. They didn't want to be a part of this drama. But after, this kid shoved things down my friends' throats and reeled them back into this drama like a fish. So this is when he went to another friend of mine. This other friend also never wanted to be a part of this drama, but this kid tried to make a treaty and agree to get revenge. My other friend told me everything that happened and again, lied about making an agreement. This was because my other friend didn't agree with this kid's revenge philosophy. This got the kid angry, so he went to my other friends. He tried to suck in 4 of my friends into the drama by basically saying, "Tell my name this, you are going down." They obviously blocked the kid because they didn't want to be involved in this drama, but this pissed him off as well. So just like my other friends, he reeled them into the drama like a fish. This is when he started making false claims of my online friends. He shouted at them for being biased. So this is when he did something very, and I mean very, inappropriate. He snapped and spammed NSFW in my DMs with him. He also raided all my online friends' Discord server with NSFW. And take note that it is very illegal to send NSFW to minors. And he's done that before. But this time it was much worse. This time it wasn't animated NSFW or something. It was something straight out of the hub. We didn't know it was him at first though. He was disguised using alts, but thanks to a Niral friend of mine who had the kid friended, we were able to see the mutual friends of those alts. The kid showed up, and we were mad. We all shouted at him, which probably didn't help. That friend who agreed to join his revenge philosophy went off on him. I did not agree to that at all, because I didn't want him to be pissed even more. So that was a screw up on my friend's side. After that, he said he wanted to apologize for this. So we went into a VC and he apologized. I accepted his apology. Turns out it wasn't an apology. It was just a way to get more info. So he basically lied about apologizing, and a day after he went back to the drama zone, me and all my friends were sick of this drama, so we forgot about. But around 3 days after, he wheeled us back in. At this point we were all very impatient. So I tried to make a deal to either 1. Cut him off, which is what I did not want to do, or 2. Become friends. So we talked for a while. I apologized. He accepted he didn't, but I'll explain more later, and we became friends again. Or not. So then he talked to all my online friends. He shoved so many things down their throat, and one of my friends felt pushed to a corner. He kept on shoving things down their throat and he called one of my friends a piece of shit for siding with me. But after we sorted it out, it was a very fun 2 weeks while we were friends. We were happy that the drama was over, but it wasn't. After 2 weeks, one of my online friends agreed to let the kid back onto their server. They were right banned from the NSFW server raid. This backfired, and the kid scrolled up in the vent channel, and this is when the drama started again. He claimed we all talked behind his back for basically talking about what to do about this drama. Note, he also said stuff about me to other people. So let me get this straight. You can talk about me all you want to other people, but we can't. And we weren't even talking to others. It was just an inside conversation. We were basically talking about what to do with the drama. The date on all these messages were in the February early March month. And the fact that he's pissed over something that was said before we solved the drama and moved on is just kind of ignorant. After that, he started forcing one of my online friend to make a YouTube video trash talking about me. The fact he really thinks that online friend would actually do that. He, the online friend, also felt pushed to a corner. He felt like the kid was shoving so many things down his throat. So the online friend felt like he was gonna throw up. The online friend talked to his parents and basically said he was no longer gonna be a part of this drama. He blocked the kid and took a break from Discord. And this is where we are at now. He's trying to involve so many people into this unnecessary drama and get people to hate me. He's trying to make my life as miserable as possible. He even said it with his own words. I'm going to make sure your reputation is tarnished. So, I'm choosing to cut him off. I don't know if this is the right or wrong thing to do, but I feel some guilt. We both did wrongs here, so that is why I'm making this post. I feel guilty for cutting him off after being friends with him for a while and leaving him to with this mess. But it's honestly up to him if he wants to forgive and forget. Now for the next story. I tried to terminate my pregnancy the entire 9 months. I never wanted kids ever. At the beginning of my relationship I specifically told my boyfriend I don't want kids. Soon after I ended up pregnant. At first I was happy, but over time I started to panic and think awful things. I scheduled an appointment to get an abortion, but I was too far along, and it couldn't be done. I planned everything out. I bought a small jewelry box as a casket for my baby. I wrote and rehearsed a lie about having a miscarriage. I looked up ways to terminate a pregnancy at home, pills I could take, throwing myself downstairs. Yes, I did. I even purposely fell on my stomach, laid flat on my back, starved myself. After everything, he was still alive and perfect. After a while I stopped and went into a depression, and I still am. I was hoping something went wrong and he would be stillborn. Now 4 months later I still have thesis thoughts. I miss my old life. I miss sleeping all night, going out with friends, staying out all night. I miss my old life. I feel trapped and I can never escape this life, but I do love my son so much. When I look at his cute smile and the way he looks at me, I think about all the things I did, and it makes me cry. I look at him, and I apologize all the time. He is healthy and a happy baby, but a part of me still wishes I went to the clinic sooner. I know what I did was wrong, and I hate myself for it now. I'm sorry if this is too triggering to read, but this is my confession. Edit. I knew this would be an extreme confession. I didn't post to seek sympathy. I'm seeking therapy for those who keep suggesting adoption is not an option for me. This post was to simply get something I've had on my mind out. I know there are some who are upset about what I did, and I understand that. I also forgot to clarify I used to travel, pick up my stuff and go. I'm not a drinker, just simply traveling to places. There is a lot more that lead to my actions in this post. I can't reply to any more comments, but thank you for the lovely messages and the others telling me I'm horrible. Thank you. I respect everyone's opinion. I already accepted to get some backlash. My son is fine. I'm in a much better place than I was before. This was just to get it off my chest and vent. Now for the next story. I violated my housemate's trust on a drunken night. Hi Reddit. I was hoping I wouldn't post here, and my thoughts would just go away, and that I could resolve this, but I can't. Firstly, I want to say I know it's my fault. I completely acknowledge that, and for the past half year I've been struggling with that. About half a year ago, around early October, one of my housemates and I went out to a small party with some friends. We are both in our first year of college. I'm a guy and she's a girl. I hadn't truly drank before the semester and I wasn't handling it well. I was getting drunk too often and blacked out a few times. I figured out how to handle it now, but it took way too long. Anyway, my housemate and I went out and drank with some friends, where we both got quite drunk, and then we went back to the house and hooked up. It was completely consensual, and we both wanted to make out, and we did on the bed for a little bit. After a while we were both basically naked, and I asked her if she wanted to have sex, and she said no. Here's the problem, I should've stopped right then, and I should've gone to bed. Rather, I asked her twice more before I stopped asking completely while we were grinding, which was definitely too far in hindsight. She said no each time, and it took until the third time she said no for me to stop asking. I didn't physically make further advances, but we were grinding, and I don't think we should've been in the first place. After we stopped making out I ended up on throwing up into the toilet, and then went to bed. It was a mess. I've talked with her extensively about it, and I can't stop feeling completely disappointed, angry, and regretful about this. I hurt her, and she can't see me the same way, and she never will be able to. I know where I went wrong and what I did, but I still can't get past the fact that I did this. Every day this is the first and last thing I think of. I've apologized to her time and time again, and I think I've shown her that I'm genuine as much as I can. I've changed my drinking habits, and I'm able to control it much better, and I've completely rethought my opinions about sexuality and respect. Regardless of this, I still can't feel any better. I know that is completely selfish and hypocritical. I'm not the one who should be feeling better, she should, and I agree with that, but I feel like I crossed a line that I can never uncross. I feel that I've defined myself as a person in a negative way. The thought haunts me every night while I try to sleep that I sexually assaulted someone and permanently changed their life. I don't know how to get these thoughts to be less prevalent. I know I should be thinking about it, but I've thought about it for hours every day for half a year, and it's really destroyed my mental health. Again, it's hypocritical. No matter how terrible I feel, I'm sure she feels worse, but I'd just like to know if there's any way I can stop this thought from always being on my mind, that I sexually assaulted someone, and that I permanently defined myself as a bad person in my mind. I probably need a therapist to really fix this, but I really feel like I damaged myself, and I won't be able to recover. It makes me feel less ambitious about life and my prospects in general. Hopefully someone can give me any bit of insight. I'm sorry if reading this hurt anyone. I know it's a terrible topic and I know I'm in the wrong. I just want to stop feeling like the biggest doucher bag in the world. It's not who I am, and I've never done anything else remotely comparable. Well, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. See you in the next one.